Welcome to Into the Mind of Madness. I need to stop my music because my speakers were the only things picking that up. I need to get my face on screen. Hey, it's cold in Canada again, so bear with the toque. I'm comfy though. I'm happy. I'm nice and warm in my head. Got to keep that brain warm, as I got to keep it active. Got a nice fat beard growing. I need to take care of this. I'm not participating in No Shave November or Mustache or Movember, as it were, this year. I forgot to get in on the charities. Maybe next year. So where do we go from here? Well, I think we're at a team. We are at a team, and I'm a little bit more confident going into Worlds now that I can eke out a couple wins. It might not be like guaranteed wins, and I might not necessarily do particularly well, but I feel like I'm going to be a little bit more competitive than I was at the Rock Canada Cup. That is for sure. So what did it take this year? This time around. This time around, it took a little bit more aggression. Those of you who are familiar with Jason Collins as a Heroclix player, he is not known for his subtlety. That being, if something is going to die, it's going to die good against me, and I'm going to kill it quick. Or I'm going to do my best to get in your face and kill as fast as I can. No subtlety, nothing about it. You see what's coming. I'm throwing the sledgehammer whether you like it or not. And that's generally where I get my most competitive. But at the same time, my focus, my brain will not function properly unless I have 1,000 little pieces to do. Or 1,000 little pieces, rather, to use. So, in order to do so, I need tricks up my sleeve, as it were. So, I'm just actually kind of typing out the team in HC Realms right now as we go. I'm going to get into the team. If you're not already familiar, it is a similar team to the team I played at the WKO this past weekend. So, that is a thing. Don't put spaces at the end of your search fields in HC Realms, as I just discovered. So, anyway, before we get into that, I learned a fantastic thing today. First of all, it kind of makes the existence of the character Dazzler 1,000 times better. And this is all comic related, so I'm going to go off on a it's not necessarily Heroclix related unless you consider comics to be Heroclix related. But on The Escapist, I came across a video by one Mr. Bob Chipman, also known as Movie Bob. And this is his Big Picture show. And he talked about an article as written by Jim Shooter of Marvel Comics fame, discussing basically the history as to why Dazzler exists, and everything about it is incredibly awesome. Apparently, you really have to watch this video to understand. So again, it's on the Escapist magazine, and I think the title of the video is "The Avengers Movie That Almost Was," or something to that effect. Let me just quickly pull it up on a window so you can get a good look. Let's see, where is it? Yes, it's called The Big Picture, The Avengers That Almost Was, and Avengers is in inverted commas or quotes, as it were, depending on where you're from. So just to quickly get a good look at this is what it looks like. And yeah, he fires off a quick shot about James Gunn, and as he briefly does. But point being, the actual meat and potatoes of this video is that the existence of Dazzler was all part of this multimedia experiment that they were going to run with Casablanca Records back in the late years of disco. And ultimately, Dazzler was created as this character to be part of this big movie, but they were also going to have whoever plays Dazzler make a couple singles, couple pop singles, to give you that kind of Hannah Montana is Miley Cyrus sort of situation, where it's like the character of Dazzler the comic is actually this singer that's released these albums. And like the more and more you go down this rabbit hole, the more and more awesome it gets, until you get to the point where the Avengers in this movie were going to consist of Spider-Man, and at the time the Avengers were like Wasp, Beast, Falcon, a couple other characters. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then added to this, that you had this, it was all like, this is a 1970s adaptation sort of movie, so you got to understand where the visuals and everything are going to be coming from. And it's like a post-apocalyptic world where New York is split into two parts, Upper Hatton and Lower Hatton, and they're run by Diana Ross and Cher, and like the Village People and the and Kiss are like their respective fighters. Watch the video, just imagine the movie that this could have been. It like just the brain nugget that gets in there. And like, if you're familiar with things like Masters of the Universe and these terrible 1970s 80s high budget special effects monstrosities, like imagine those kinds of neon lights flashing around Escape from New York. And that's kind of the picture I'm getting, as headed up by Cher and Diana Ross. I want to see this movie. I want this movie to be made, even if it's just as a joke, and even with current Cher. And is Diana Ross still alive? I should probably Google that before I. This is why I don't do pop culture. All right, she's still kicking. Good. 74. We still have a chance for this movie to exist. Although I don't know if all the Village People are alive, and if all the members of Kiss want to be on the same screen again. You know what? Let's not make this movie anymore. Anyway. Let's talk about my team, because that's what we're here for. We're for Heroclix, and I just wanted to share a little bit of my this. I'm so angry that I have this visual of this movie now, and it doesn't exist for us to either make fun of or to appreciate where we are now. Because like the Avengers we have now would have been vastly different from this movie Avengers, and this movie Avengers would have been called Dazzler. Oh, and I think Bo Derek was originally. It was Bo Derek was originally going to play Dazzler. And so this just gets even more bizarre because, as a thing, Bo Derek and her husband, John Derek, I think it was, whatever movie she was in, he had to direct. And there is a People magazine cover, apparently, of... Here it is. I'm going to pull up this picture. You're never going to believe this, because this is how close we were to this movie. I'm just going to full screen this. Zoom in right here. I'm just going to share screen on this one. Right here is his research. These are the comics he was reading to look up Dazzler. Who wants to talk Heroclix? Let's talk Heroclix. I had fun. I had some fun. All right. My team that I had a lot of fun. I got second place in my WKO with it, and that's part of why I'm very comfortable with it. It's not subtle in the least. So we have the standard Captain America Overdrive setup. Okay, that's not a mystery. We're also backing this up with a Lockjaw. Lockjaw is my source of pick of power. And he will come in handy in any. He's so flexible on this team, and I kind of love that he is this flexible. We also have the Captain Kirk Chase. This is I might have talked about this last week's episode, so bear with me if I have. Shirtless Kirk, 50 points. He's got close combat expert, and if he hasn't moved, which is he doesn't move if he is placed by carry, he can use close combat expert as a free. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, I put this in the Discord. The Discord helped me come with some further solutions on this one. So I added an Ironheart for extra gumption. Added, of course, Overdrive to move the entirety of the team that I need moved. And I have a Groot. Why do I have a Groot? Groot tokens are great. Leadership for 20 points is great. So leadership for 20 points, I can Colossal Retaliate. I mean, sometimes there's probably going to be some situations where I don't want to give my opponent a Leslie Evans. And I'm not going to. Because there's going to be some matchups where, in fact, Overdrive carries everybody except for any of the Walking Woods. The traditional setup with this team is that Ironheart is carrying a Walking Wood. And Overdrive is carrying a Walking Wood and everybody not named Ironheart. It's a traditional setup. Unless I need the extra outwit from Ironheart. Or, you know, I need Lockjaw doing something more akin to probability control. And this actually came up against my losses with my own teammates, so thank goodness he was willing to share some information. Long and the short of it is that you get into people's face after Ironheart. What was beautiful about Ironheart, she's got sidestep, she flies, and because she's got a character with a pulse that flies, she can easily pick up a Venom Harness, put it on Kirk. Kirk equips it, boom, done, problem solved. All right, then you carry everybody, then you trigger Kirk. Way after the fact, after he's carried and ends up where he's going to be. Like, you don't have to trigger the Venom Harness for anything at any specific time, which is so beautiful. Yeah, so Captain America is going to call in something with the ID cards. You'll notice that I don't have the 18 points worth of ID cards because this is where we're going to be doing a lot of work today. Lockjaw chooses a power. Captain Kirk attacks. He just attacks for 5 damage. How 5 damage, you ask? Yeah, 5 damage with a 13 attack, because if I trigger the Venom Harness, that's a +1 to all the stats. I use Close Combat Expert, and I go +1 attack, +1 defense. I use the Perplex on the Captain America, assuming I haven't perplexed up anything else, like on my call-in. I now have a 13 attack, and with the Empower from the Overdrive to get myself up to 5 damage. Jamie Faheron, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. You can outwit to get a power back. That was outwit, yes, as long as you outwit the person who used outwit, sort of the situation. So yeah, that's another situation in which Overdrive is very likely to be coming up. Is I'm going to be running, somebody else against somebody else with outwit. Long story short, yeah. So, what else is important here? Venom Harness also gets around shape change. So sometimes there was a couple situations where I came up with this team where I was surrounded by walking woods, but Kirk had no action tokens. So he would take a free action, Close Combat Expert, +2 to his attack with the Venom Harness. That's a 13 attack against a 16 defense. Unless I'm critically missing, I'm hitting a I'm hitting a walking wood. Watch, rinse, repeat. You can kill 2 walking woods in a single turn with 1 character. Awesome, because the walking woods can do way more than their points in damage. Sometimes that extra effort is worth it. Captain, and now where things get a little wacky on this team, it was my ID card call-ins. So the original setup, let's just quickly bang it out, shall we? We're gonna go main scene here with me because you don't need to see me typing out anymore. But it was 2 ID cards. They don't have the wanted poster yet, so it's a wanted poster and ID card of Wolverine. That was one thing. Professor X ID. It was another ID. Then I had a chamber ID. I believe that made up everything. Nope. I still have 4 points. Oh. No, this is incorrect because I chose the wrong Wolverine ID. Wolverine times 2. Bam, bam. That makes sense, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So we go back to the HC realm scene. There I am again. All right. Here I go again. I'm not on my own because I'm joined by the internet. Hopefully this stream is coming in okay. Google or YouTube was telling me some weird things about it, so I'm not 100% sure how the strength on everything is. I'll try to make sure some of my windows are cleared out here, just in case in the meantime, because hey, look, Everyman Project showed up. How about that? That was my Bo Derek and John Derek image there. Think I'm all cleared out here. Oh, I should probably not have Facebook open, just in case. My Castlevania video game shopping doesn't need to be open, right? Okay, so I apparently have lost. Well, okay, cool, perfect. That is perfect. Can't ask for anything better. So I can no longer track the strength of everything. All right. Sorry, got caught in my work. All right. So here we go. Here's my ID card distribution. So it was a Professor X ID, 2 Wolverines, thanks Emily, and a Chamber ID. Okay, so question came up after the tournament: do we change this? And the tentative answer is to possibly lose the wanted poster. The wanted poster is cool, but it at times turned out to be a little unnecessary and could, in fact, be better served against some teams with a Cyclops. So if we go with this, anyway. So ultimately, I think the Wolverine and Professor X need to get muddled around. Sorry, it wasn't necessarily a Cyclops. We were between a Cyclops and a Harley Quinn. Because we want to use the title Harley. I don't know why I tried to look up the Harley Quinn ID like it was going to show up here. It's a highly evasive, well, at least if you're playing against me, character who can, with a single energy explosion, gets a 13 attack with that energy explosion, and gives each character that's hit by the energy explosion an action token, which can really throw down speed on your opponent's turn. So you trigger the energy explosion, you do damage to a big group. There's a lot of teams that are running big groups. My team is not unique in its sense. There's things like the X-Men. We all know about the X-Men teams. They're really not ID card, but figure heavy. And as a result, because they're formation heavy, that's what I was looking for. Formation heavy. Because they're formation heavy, this energy explosion can really have an effect on a big group of dudes. And a big group of dudes all taking energy explosions and 2 damage. The energy explosion 2 damage and an action token are massive. They're massive effects that you can get on your opponent and go a long way towards really screwing up their tempo. You can basically, in some cases, take turns away on a level that feels Faust-like. It's not necessarily at Faust's level, but it is Faust-like. It happened to me. That's why I know. So, now granted, it didn't have a massive, it had a bit of a tempo shift on me, but I think my biggest weakness against this particular stratagem was the fact that my opponent, Devin, could not miss his shape change and could not miss his super senses. I, on the other hand, can't get that lucky a lot of the time. But Harley Quinn is one of the leaders for this. The next one, of course, is Cyclops. Cyclops. Now, with Cyclops, one thing that's worth noting about this team as well, I did have only 5 figures on the sideline and ended up using 4 slots for Super Friends. My Super Friends selection was 1 Wonder Woman, 1 Firestorm, 1 Flash, and 1 Aquaman. If you see the way this team gets in the face, Aquaman is ideal for it. So anytime you question the Aquaman and my choice of Aquaman, believe me when I say this was an educated factor. And Emily can attest, as she's in the chat, to how many attacks in one turn some of them fish made. them fish made lots of attacks. And eventually one of them's bound to get a critical hit. I mean, they're fish. Anyway, so when we come to Cyclopses, we have a number of options, which would, of course, lead to a problem where I'm going to fill up my sideline, so I have to readdress my Super Friend situation. And I think, unpopular opinion, Aquaman stays. Sorry? So, obviously, 50-point Cyclops is a big option. He's leadership. He's got sidestep traded. And then he can use Psychic Blast past his own, or super far out from his own starting area, or he's got Energy Shield. Cool. And it's just an outright just bomb all of a sudden. The problem is I can't bomb this hard with this team. I have some perplex, but I have more empower close combat focus, right? This is why I get a little tentative about this particular choice. Because Harley Quinn comes with her +3 attack. She comes with it, right? And the massive group effect. So I think Harley is going to stay. My other option, of course, is the 60-point Age of Apocalypse Cyclops. But he comes in as a very specific choice. He's got Precision Strike and Knockback, which means he's effectively got an extra damage. Let's not kid ourselves. He is indomitable, so I'm not really susceptible to certain things. But really, the sidestep, I don't know. It's cool. Might not make a factor. Whatever. revenge tokens aren't a factor. He can make a range attack while adjacent to opposing characters, which this team is adjacent to opposing characters. I don't know if you heard. But I feel like he doesn't match, and this is why I think I'm talking. The more and more I continue this this idea of conversation, the more and more I talk myself out of Cyclops, right? Because my team is just so in the face that all the Harley Quinn, I think, does more against more of the more specific teams, and I think is a better option. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why are you keeping Chamber in? Let me tell you. Chamber helped me in a lot of situations, one of which is his poison. People tried to build wall, like I've seen attempts with walls of bystanders that Chamber just liquefied. And so that didn't bother me. And then, you know, he does have the ability to, in a single turn, possibly kill a Star Fox, unless, of course, said Star Fox can't miss any of its Super Sense rolls. That came up a lot. That comes up a lot with me. I think my only way past the Star Fox these days has been a critical hit. Even Precision Strike, I've seen the guys get 6. Like, but you can do is shrug it off and just be, all right, cool, that happened. What can you do? I mean, even my opponent in the semifinals had to have looked at it and said, well, you got a critical hit. What do I do? I mean, it's just, okay, this is it. This is how I die. Yeah. So I do feel the Harley Quinn, even if she's not necessarily getting pushes off of the extra action tokens, losing a turn goes a long way, and I think Harley Quinn gets added to the ID pool. And, you know, Chamber doesn't just do damage to the bystanders or the Star Fox. I mean, I had to play against Queen LeFay. He does the damage to her. So anything that gets her closer to dead without having to roll dice. Because let me tell you, the Weird World, when you have to roll actual values against actual values, that's when you realize how good Weird World is. Because you have to offensively perplex. That's really the only option you have if you want to perplex her down. So, and Chamber just helps. You got to do the whittling job. You just got to whittle away, whittle just little bits of Heroclix at a time, and do your best to hold her out. Where are we here? So the question then becomes: is Professor X worth it? And he's got so many situations where he just is that I can't say no to him. Professor X as an ID card, I still feel though that my particular build, because I'm not using a Pim tank, may probably be able to do without the rare version as a call-in, which would just mean that I just carry the Brood on the sideline. Because, I mean, the only situation in which I see it is I very massively need to deal with formation busting, and that's kind of Harley's job. Like, formation busting is her job, so I'm gonna rethink it, but I think I'm gonna lean Professor X's side anyway. This is the massive thought process, because we're going into Worlds, right? And we have to think about what we're gonna run into in Worlds. And the big question on my mind, of course, and I have to talk about this because I only have a few more episodes of this left. So I think I'm gonna go with the Harley Quinn. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. What an elephant. It is this guy. It's the Goblin King. It is the Goblin King at 275 points as a one-man army. This is a hard guy to catch. And you need to catch him. There's no question about it. You need to catch this guy, and you need to do damage. And I need to do it in such a way that it sticks, stays, and it stays consistent. And this is the character that makes me doubt the Harley Quinn a lot. And it's not the Harley Quinn become bad or anything like that in this, but he is something that's going to be at Worlds because he was at Rock World Cup. He is the safest build, and this is World Championships. People are going to play safe stuff. So, here's the way I look at this guy. I don't look at him like he's got a how do I put this? I feel like I can get him off of the first dial. Okay? So I can get him to the experience version. So can I kill the experience version after he's had a turn to run away? Sorry, Overdrive, you're about to die. Because I'm pushing you. It's just gotta happen. And I gotta chase this guy, I feel like. And this is, of course, a problematic situation to find myself in. Because if I have to chase this guy, I need him on his fourth click in order for it to stop. Just for him to stop. Just stop beating him. And then it comes down to, can I hit him based on whatever power choices my opponent makes? What's worse is he's going to be on click 4, and he's going to have probability control and whatever defense boost he feels like having. If he sees my close combat game coming, he's going to have close combat expert. Nothing I can do about that. So, like, this is the whole thought process behind it. It's like, how can I deal with this guy? And it literally comes down to, if I can catch him, I can damage him. Can I damage him again? Is it going to be Kirk? Is it going to be a range combat nonsense thing that I might have to try to pull off? What complications do I have to account for with the Goblin King, and what extra things do I need to think about? All of this has been ruining my day. There are other ways in which I can try to avoid this guy. One of which is making sure all my wins are decisive. Because the Goblin King, when played in a correct manner, does not win decisively. He wins, and that's about it. Like, he wins with a very low margin, which means he'll find himself towards the low end of the Swiss. And I probably, if in a perfect world where everything played perfectly and I played my way out, my likelihood of seeing a Goblin King wouldn't be until like 4th, 5th round of the Swiss, and then I, see him again in the top cuts. This is, again, assuming my team is somehow done perfectly, which it won't. I am going to lose rounds in the Swiss because there's just going to be bad matchups. Welcome to the world of a wide meta. You're going to have a bad matchup, and you're going to do your best to eke out that last 10%. So, yeah. And as Jesse Cote said, a wide open map and a bunch of dudes to surround is the only thing that does work, and that's what my team does. It surrounds with a bunch of dudes as best as it can. Problem is if he faces and walks away, he'll get a couple turns to. So I may, like, the way I look at it, it may just be one of those situations where he kind of shrugs and goes, ha, ha, bye, Overdrive. And Overdrive's like, the heck with it. I'm blowing my car up. You're dead. It's the ideal situation, I think, is to just chase him. Just chase him. Just get him. And just get some penetrating. Like, the trick is, get him off those first 3. In my head, get him off the first 3. Find a source of penetrating damage in order to get him off of the next 3. And then once we're in the invulnerable zone, it's just a matter of chipping my way, using things like Empower or whatever extra damage I can get to get past those clicks. So it either works or it doesn't. So is the face I make. And, dice rolls go a long way too. It's a tough matchup. It's a matchup I'm aware of. It's not a matchup I'm blind to. It's a matchup you as a player, if you're playing in Worlds as well, need to be aware of. This is one of the keynote matchups, the tough guy matchups. This is the thing where it's like, damn, if I can't beat this, there's going to be quite, like, this is the easiest team to build. As a result, easiest team to acquire because there's one character. I don't know if his value necessarily has gone up. I will take a quick second to check one of those popular sites that has figures for sale, and just see where his price sits. Like, we'll do a comparison operator. I prefer Troll and Toad and Cool Stuff. They're good bases of comparison. Their prices are usually very, very similar. Of course, when I look up something called the Goblin King, I forget that Magic the Gathering exists. So I might have to actually go specific, go to Heroclix, go to the... Oh, here we go. So he's sitting at $40 out of stock right now on Troll and Toad. And then we go to Cool Stuff Inc. We search up Goblin King. I should actually, you know what? It's funny because it said like Goblin King -040. I think that's the super rare from What If. Yep. So it's sitting at $30 on Cool Stuff Inc. Let me go to it. Let's see. Hey, there's only one in stock, so somebody just bought it. So that's $30 US. For those of you who, so if you don't already have this guy, he's not particularly difficult to get. He's a super rare, so if you start cracking some packs, likelihood's pretty much there in a set that was fairly small. Or you can, you know, make it a little cheaper on yourself and pop $30 to Cool Stuff Inc. and grab one of your own. To be aware that this is one piece of the team, and this is most of the team. So then it comes down to which ID card are you going to use, and then from the ID card you're going to use, what are you going to use as equipment to defend him? A very popular choice, of course, is the symbiote, which is kind of why I'm comfortable with Kirk. Kirk packing a Venom harness says super senses. And gets around that. The problem is I still have to find some way around super senses. Shape change, sorry. Shape change is the thing he ignores with the Venom harness. Not super senses. Super senses is the thing I do got to find my way around. Which is this. Oh, man. So, where I'm going with this is Goblin King is very likely to show up in a lot of numbers because he is the easiest team to build. And at $30 for most of the team, he's pretty inexpensive. I don't know what the symbiote hit for... Is it the alien symbiote? Nah, that's probably not right. Nope, that's a versus card. Shame on you for still having versus Cool Stuff Inc. Oh gosh, what a great game that was. Versus system was fun. I'm looking through, of course. I'm looking through prices just to see if my assessment here is in any way, shape, or form correct. And you know what? I'm not going to find Heroclix under the card games, guys. Oops. Teehee. Marvel. That was the Superior Foes of Spider-Man that the symbiote came. This has got to be riveting. Just watching me search through Cool Stuff Inc. Here, I'll share the nonsense of what I'm doing here. Believe if the symbiote is here, it's going to be under... Oh, wow. Nailed it. Nope. I'm going to need to go one more over, I think, because Y will come after you. Is it just called the symbiote and they don't parse through thes? No. Doesn't seem like it. All right. So it doesn't look like they have it. Let's go through Troll and Toad again. Let's just go through all Heroclix singles. Let's go start from the beginning because I was still on the search page. Let's go to Heroclix. This is their new site, by the way. I said yes to their... so if the symbiote's going for 20-ish, thanks, Jesse. So that's 50 on the team there. So still inexpensive as far as the team is concerned. And we go to HC Realms. So we have a Goblin King at 275. This is most of our team. We add a symbiote. And that is 281. So we have 9 points. And you're not 90% of the time not filling this 90 points. We go to, and then we just choose an ID. I'm not sure which ID is being used to kill things. You have 275 points with which to work. You're trying to pop off something small, something reliable and easy to kill. And you're probably using a Cyclops to do it. Because with 275 points, you can call in any version of Cyclops. Or are they using Storm? I'm not 100% sure. This is where my knowledge base kind of goes a little, or falters some. And I might not be, it might even be a Wolverine at full, because one, he's almost impossible to kill himself. Like, try to get through that in a single turn for 150 points. It's not an easy task. And he still has like the same flurry when forward sort of situation going for him. So, and then he can sidestep out into safety even better. So, ultimately, you'll see something akin to this across the board from you. Sometimes not. I've seen also versions that run Loki's staff instead of the symbiote. Loki's staff, of course, is dependent upon getting the chase Loki. Let's see if I'm right. And this runs about 12 points. It gives you mind control and shape change. So shape change is there. And then you have 5 points with which to spend here because you have a character. No, you don't have any points to spend because you're spending it on an ID card. So 292 is usually a little closer to the top. Anyway, you're generally losing 5 points with this, and you're killing with a Goblin King. Is the point of this team. And yeah, properly played, this team is damn near impossible to catch. So you got to be ready for that. And I think, whoops, sorry, almost clicking on things. I'm tired. I'm very tired. This is kind of the thought process I have. And going into next week, I'm gonna spend most of the time talking about things like I just did with the Goblin King, things to prepare yourself for. Because next week is likely to be the last episode of this show until I revive it for some other major event I might be looking at, and I just need to share with the internet because I believe this is pretty close to my practice. Yeah, because next week will be the 21st. Then the Wednesday after that, I'm gonna need the rest and the last minute packing to get ready for my trip. So by next Wednesday, I should be ready to go. Or should be like doing my last episode of this. So if you have any questions in the chat, let me know now. Or if you're thinking about them for next week, be ready with them. And you know, the general thought process is you think you might need work on, or what figure you're panicking about. You know, because Goblin King is one I'm panicking about because a lot of people are panicking about him, and I figured I'd share how to deal with him. And to deal with him, you got to kill him because it's this or nothing. This is how this goes. 275 points or nothing is what you're scoring against him. So you got to kill him. So you got to look at your team and say, can I kill the Goblin King, or can I stay away from him well enough and find a way to score other points off of him? Now I'm gonna go with a crazy idea. Actually, I'm not gonna say anything just yet. I don't think it's a set in stone in any way, shape, or form. I don't even think this works, to be brutally honest, the way I think it does. Yeah, I'm looking at him. You're all looking at him. I'm not sure if remove the equipment from the game scores it. I gotta double check that. But it's a possibility. If you can take this guy and run away from the Goblin King, well, as the kids say. That's it. I'm a dad, and therefore dabbing is if it wasn't already uncool, it is uncool officially. As a father, I have ruined it for everybody. You're welcome. Whoops. I made a mess of my life there. See, this is how good I am with OBS. I'm just clicking things and just messing it all up. Anyway. So that's my team. That's my biggest fear going into Worlds. Next year, I'm going to share some other fears, some other considerations, some other things I'm going to have to deal with. Things I'm going to be aware of. Things I'm planning on doing while I'm there. Because, you know, we're going to be entertaining people. We are going to be entertaining people. Not entertaining people, like the verb, but we are going to be the adjective / noun entertaining people. So we're going to do our best to have some fun, come up with some things to do. I'm probably going to pack at least one Magic the Gathering deck. If you roll that way, you do. Cool. But it's like when I say bring a Magic deck, I'm bringing like a Commander deck. It's a very casual format. So please, by all means, I'd love to get a game like that together. I am planning a Pauper game with Happy Little Heroclix at some point throughout the weekend, which should be a lot of fun. And yeah, so, you know, hit us up, see what we're up to. If you see us there, chit chat a little. Don't distract us during a game. If you see us during a game, you know, hover, not too close. Give everybody a little space, and then when it's all done, say hi. I'll be at the Battle Royale where everybody's yelling and laughing, hopefully. If if I am at the Battle Royale table. So that's all I got. Next week will be a little bit of proper preparation for Philadelphia. You know what's funny is that almost alliterized if it wasn't for the fact that Philadelphia sounded like an H. Anyway, you guys have a good night. Thank you for stepping into my mind and madness. Thank you for being my shrinks. I really hope I have helped you. If not, you guys have helped me get comfortable with this team. So to you guys, thank you. And next week we talk about tournament prep, not with the teams, but with the self. Have a good night, everybody.